Hello, second grade. Happy Wednesday. It is January 13th, and we are so excited because we are halfway done with the week. And it is time for writing. So I'm really excited to introduce this writing unit to you guys. We are about to start talking and writing one of my favorite ways, which is poetry. Can you say poetry? Thank you for participating. So, poetry is a genre of writing or a literary genre where you get to be really creative as a writer. You can be silly, you can convey a lot of emotion, and make people that are reading your work, your poems, make them feel a lot of things. And so sometimes you can make them feel really happy if you're being silly. Maybe you can make them feel sad if that's what you want to do. And you also don't really have to follow as many of the writing rules that we normally use when we're writing a normal story. So I want to introduce this by showing you one of my favorite poems ever, okay? So this poem is called Backward Bill, and it's by Shel Silverstein. And before we read it, I want to show you a picture of Backward Bill. So this is Backward Bill. This is who the poem's going to be about. And before we read it, I want you to look at him and talk to the person next to you about something you notice about Backward Bill. Oh my goodness, there are so many things to notice. I'm sure you guys also had lots of different ideas. So we might have noticed that he's got a hat on his head, or that he's riding his horse backwards, or maybe what's on his foot? A hat. He's doing all kinds of things backwards, right? So we are going to be reading a poem about this man, Backward Bill. So I'm going to move it, make it a little bit smaller so we can still see it, but I'm going to move it over here. There we go. So there's Backward Bill. And y'all are going to listen as I read this poem by Shel Silverstein about him. One more thing. As we're reading, you're going to be hearing some rhymes. And rhymes are when words have the same ending sound, remember? So as you hear a rhyme, I want you to make this little like boop and do your finger up like that, okay? So practice it real quick. If you hear a rhyme, you're going to go boop, okay? As you are listening. So Backward Bill, he lives way up on Backward Hill, which is really a hole in the sandy ground, but that's a hill turned upside down. Backwards Bill's got a backward shack with a big front porch that's built out back. You walk through the window and look out the door, and the cellar is up on the very top floor. Backward Bill, he rides like the wind, don't know where he's going, but sees where he's been. His spurs, they go neigh, and his horse, it goes clang, and his six-gun goes gnab, it never goes bang. Backward Bill's got a backward pup, they eat their supper when the sun comes up. And he's got a wife named Backward Lil, she's my own true hate, said Backward Bill. Backward Bill wears his hat on his toes and puts on his underwear over his clothes. And come every payday, he pays his boss and rides off smiling, carrying his hoss. So, thumbs up or thumbs down? Did you like that poem? I see a lot of thumbs up. That is one of my favorite poems from when I was your age. And so I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. It's really silly. It's talking about this guy, Backwards Bill. He lives in a hole in the ground. His front porch is in the back. You walk in the window and look out the door. And his basement, his cellar, is actually on the top floor. So everything's backwards with this guy, right? So I think that you guys heard a lot of rhymes, right? And so I want to go through and identify the rhymes that we made, because that's what we're going to be focusing on today, is poems that have rhymes. And we're going to be practicing making our own rhymes so that we can use them to write our own little poems. And our poems aren't going to be as long as this one, but we do want to kind of follow this model where we have several rhymes together. So we have Backwards Bill, he lives way up on Backwards Hill. What two words rhyme at the end of these lines? What are they? Bill and Hill. Thank you for participating. So I'm actually going to highlight Bill, and I'm also going to highlight Hill with the same color. So, which is really a hole in the sandy ground, but that's a hill turned upside down. So, ground and down. Those words have similar sounds, but they don't exactly rhyme. So, I'm going to leave those alone because they both don't have that sound at the very end. They're very close. So, they almost pass as a rhyme, but they are not quite. Let's move on to the next group of lines, which is called a stanza. So our next stanza starts with backwards Bill's got a backwards shack with a big front porch that's built out back. Did you guys hear a rhyme there? Of course we heard a rhyme there, and I want you guys to shout out what two words rhymed in these two lines. What were they? Shack and back are the words that rhyme here, so we're going to highlight those the same color. So then we have you walk through the window and look out the door, and the cellar is up on the very top floor. We heard a rhyme. What rhyme did we hear? Door and floor were the next two rhyming words. So that's another set of rhymes. So we highlighted those. So we have two words that rhyme here, two words that rhyme here, two words that rhyme here. Next we have our third stanza. Can y'all say that word stanza for me? So a stanza is just a group of lines, and they're separated by spaces. So this is one stanza, this is the second stanza, third stanza. So third stanza starts, backward Bill, he rides like the wind, don't know where he's going, but sees where he's been. So wind and been, do those rhyme? What do you think? Thumbs up if they rhyme, thumbs down if they don't rhyme. Wind and been. So wind and been have similar sounds at the end. They're very, very close, but they are not exactly a rhyme because they both don't have that d sound at the end of the word. So wind and been don't exactly rhyme, but they are very, very close. Next, we have his spurs, they go neigh. Spurs are those, their cowboys have them on the backs of their shoes, and they make the horses go faster. So his spurs go neigh, and his horse goes clang, and his six gun goes gnab. It never goes bang. So do we hear a rhyme at the end of this line? We have clang, and in here we have bang. Thumbs up if they rhyme, thumbs down if they do not rhyme. I see thumbs up, and that is correct because clang and bang do rhyme. And I do want to point out, so his six gun goes gnab. Do y'all know why it says gnab? It says nab because that is bang spelled backwards. So it's just another silly little joke in this poem. This poem makes me feel happy because it is a very silly poem. Our fourth stanza, say stanza. Yes, so our fourth stanza says, backward Bill's got a backward pup. They eat their supper when the sun comes up. Do y'all hear a rhyme in those two lines? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up. And what two words rhyme there, everyone? We have pup and up right there. So we're going to highlight those two. And next we have, he's got a wife named Backwards Lil. She's my own true hate, says Backwards Bill. Do y'all hear a rhyme there? Thumbs up, thumbs down. And what words rhyme there? We hear Lil and Bill that rhyme. Oops. Lil and Bill. All right, one more stanza, our fifth stanza down here. Backward Bill wears his hat on his toes and puts on his underwear over his clothes. Do y'all hear right there? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Toes, clothes. That one is very, very close. I think that it's close enough that it's just not quite. It's not quite. So there's the extra sound in clothes. that's not toes. But they are so, so close. So that's why Shel Silverstein is such a good poet, because he's really, really good at making lots of different words sound like they rhyme. But I am going to leave those two because toes and clothes aren't exactly rhymes, but they are very close. And come every payday, he pays his boss, and rides off a smilin', a carrying his hoss. So in the last two lines, did y'all hear a rhyme? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up. There is a rhyme. And what two words rhyme in the last two lines? At the end of this line, we see boss, which rhymes with hoss in the last line. Okay, and so those are all the rhymes in this poem, Backwards Built. And so we had one set of rhymes, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sets of rhymes right there. So part of some poetry, not all poetry, but parts of some poems are rhymes, which is where we have that kind of the rhyming that makes it sound almost like a song. And a lot of times that makes our poem a little bit sillier, which is really nice and fun for the reader to read. I hope you enjoyed that one. So what we're going to be doing now is I am going to be practicing generating my own rhymes. So I see 3 words right here. I see 8, soap, and money. And I want to come up with 4 rhymes that go with each of the words in the blue box. So 8. Do you guys know any words that rhyme with the word 8? Shout them out. Y'all have so many ideas. Thank you for participating. So one word that rhymes with 8 that I thought of was 8. So that's 1. Or maybe we could do plate. Or maybe we could do, let me think. I could use a different word that sounds exactly the same. 8, like the number 8, right? So I'm going to put a number right there. That's another word. 8 does rhyme with the other word 8 because they are not the exact same word. And maybe, can y'all think of one more? Go ahead and tell your neighbor another word that rhymes with the word 8. Another word that rhymes with the word 8 that I thought of was date. So that's 4 rhymes that I just came up with this word. And there's also a lot of other ones. I'm sure some of you guys had ideas that I didn't write down, but that's awesome because there's so many ways to do this right, actually, which is very cool. So my next word I'm going to do is soap. Okay, so soap. Another word that rhymes with soap that I can think of is rope. Do you have any other ideas? Shout out your ideas. Another word that I thought of was cope. Another word that we could do is, let me think. I'm actually going to pause so I can take some time to think about this one. So I took a moment to think about it because sometimes it takes more. Sometimes when we're on the spot, it's hard to come up with things, and that's okay. So we could do rope, cope. Another one that I thought of was hope, and then slope, like a ski slope or something. So our last word that I'm going to model coming up with my own rhymes for is money. And this one's a little trickier because this is not a 1-syllable word like 8 or soap. This has 2 syllables. Money, right? So some words that rhyme with money. What do you guys think? Shout out some ideas. You guys are coming up with some great ideas, so thank you for participating. Another word that rhymes with money could be honey, like honey from a tree or bees. Another one could be runny, like my nose is runny. Or sunny, as in it is sunny outside, or funny, like that poem we listened to is funny. And I want you guys to notice that sometimes rhymes, the sounds that we use don't have the same spelling. We went from an O-A long O sound to a vowel consonant E OPE down here for all of these words. And I changed the spelling from ATE endings here to just the word eight, which has a different spelling pattern in it. Same thing over here. I used the same letters from money to honey by only changing the first letter, but you can also make other sound, or you can make the same sound with different spellings too sometimes. So runny, sunny, funny are all spelled differently, have different ending word letters than money does, but they still rhyme. So keep that in mind, because it is now y'all's turn, and we're going to go into the next video so I can explain to you how to complete your portion of the activity. Okay, so I will see y'all there.